I don't think really when we started that any of us ever had this vision of what we would be doing in 10 years. I mean, I still don't now. I don't think of what I will be doing in 10 years. I don't think many people do. If you're involved in anything creative, you can't really allow yourself to think about security, which is all thinking about the future is, really. Thinking if you're going to be in a better position or a worse position. I always hoped that we'd be able to keep going until we wanted to stop, but I didn't know if that would be like 10 days or 10 years. It's always related, I think, in a degree to success. Success is never related to longevity. You can have like enormous success and then disappear. But I think you have to have a certain amount of success mentally as much as physically to keep going, because you've got to think that other people are appreciating what you're doing. I don't think it could be very much fun if you were to have a certain amount of success and then it starts to wane and you're still doing things because you're realising that people are, you know, like they're moving away from you. No one is really that interested. It's not an explanation for why we've done, you know, why we've been able to do what we've done. We were just told to arrive when we did that video at this address in London. We all turned up expecting to meet a film director who was going to talk through what he was going to do. You know, we had all these ideas for what we could do for the song, and he said, you know, we've got 2.5 hours or something. There you go. There's your instruments. And we thought, oh, we're doing it now. So we mimed, and we thought maybe he's doing a run through. You know, he wants to see what you look like when we're playing, and we sort of went away afterwards. We thought that was a bit weird. You know, the bloke was a bit weird. And we waited and waited, and nothing ever happened. We never saw it, and so we thought, oh, it must have been a rehearsal. We waited for about 6 months to do the real thing, because in those days, I mean, it was never shown. I've never seen it on television before. And it was only 2 years ago when we were putting together the video compilation that I sort of remembered, and I thought, maybe it does exist. So we asked Polydor, and sure enough, in this cupboard in someone's office, they had the original copy of this film. I wish that they hadn't, in some ways. It would have been nice to put some arty images to that song and pretend that we did it at the time. What it looks like, I mean, knowing what we were like at the time, it's the kind of po-facedness that we used to adopt when we thought something was incredibly stupid. That, like, we were overwhelmed by how stupid everyone was in the record business when we first started, how drab everything was, and how sort of fixated everyone was. And I think that's how we built up this reputation for being very sullen. It was mainly through politeness, because we didn't actually want to openly laugh at people. And we used to just go away and think, you know, good God. And so I think people used to think that's a very quiet, you know, serious bunch of lads there. There wasn't really much we could do. Certainly in the first year that we got involved, we didn't really have that much control over what we were doing. It was very much fiction, and Chris Parry was trying to mould us into this sharp, new, young three-piece. And it took us a year to make him realise that we were in fact sort of scruffy and willful, and broke his dream. I must admit, at the time, I didn't want us to do it. I remember distinctly saying it was, thinking it was a bad idea to do it, and because Top of the Pops did represent a lot of what we were trying to, we were trying to succeed without using programmes like Top of the Pops. I don't know, but then it was Simon really, because he was saying if we don't do it, someone else is going to do it, and you can't change things if no one knows who you are, and he was right really. I mean, and I came to see that we had to actually get some level of exposure, because we can't present. I mean, you can't present a choice if people don't know the choice exists. So we had to let people know that we were there to be liked or disliked. And that if we didn't do it, there was, like there's 10 other groups behind us queuing up to do it. So we did it. See into the trees, find the goal, what you can. Closer and see into the dark. Just follow your eyes, just follow your eyes. I think for anyone that goes there for the first time, you don't really equate what you see there with what you see on television. It's so different. I mean, I used to watch Top of the Pops. I used to see like David Bowie and Mark Bolan on Top of the Pops and think, God, that looks like a really good disco. Which I could go and see David Bowie or Mark Bolan playing there. when you're actually there, and I mean, we kept looking around and thinking, where's the audience, you know, all through the afternoon. Suddenly everyone was like wheeled in, we did it, and they were wheeled out, and that's it, you know, good night everybody, can you go now? And I mean, it was horribly disappointing.
In the dark, I hear her voice start to run into the trees, into the trees. Into the trees. Suddenly I stop, but I know it's too late.
I mean, obviously we think about what we're going to look like. I mean, everyone does. I mean, it's impossible not to have an image. If you have a choice of clothes in the morning, you make a choice for various reasons. Either you want to look a certain way, you want other people to perceive you a certain way. So, I mean, everyone's conscious of image. I think it's just that we relegated it to its proper position rather than elevated it to something whereby the image became more important than what you were doing or the way you were doing it. And that's, you know, we've always tried to keep it as a kind of a secondary thing. You know, from time to time we all go out and buy matching suits, and you know, we have these shirts done. It's kind of tokenism though. I mean, it only lasts for a few weeks. Everyone gets fed up with it and goes back to wearing what they wear anyway. Like, we've just, everyone that's been in the group is basically very scruffy. I think that's why no one's really that clothes conscious. Probably they'll all hate me for saying that. Paul's quite clothes conscious. Paul always looks very, very smart. We had no interest in videos at all, really, until we met Tim Pope. He sort of fired an enthusiasm that was latent in us for presenting the group in ways which would be complementary to what we did musically. Up until then, it had always been something, you know, the record company would say, right, now's the time, you know, next Wednesday you go and make your video, and we'd always think, oh, you know, we can't do what we want next Wednesday, we've got to go and make the video. There was no input from us, and we tried it with Charlotte sometimes. We met Mike Mansfield and we gave him the book from which the song came from. We were trying to get him into the feel of it, and we wanted like an old Asylum, a kind of old film noir kind of thing, and it turned out like that. I mean, it was enough to kill any sort of aspirations towards making a decent video. It was like one of the worst moments of my life, I think, when we first saw the Charlotte Sometimes video back. We didn't even have a say in picking the girl, you know, and he was like the key to the whole video. I don't know how they used to get away with it. I suppose it's because it had nothing to do with us, because we weren't paying for them. That's all I can think of. And I think our complete lack of interest was probably a big factor as well. Within the group, there's sort of this unspoken um, term, I suppose, what I want is usually what happens. But I find it very difficult to compromise when we're playing music, when we're writing music, when we're making records. I know exactly what I want it to be like, and if people disagree with me, I mean, there's always wild differences in the group. They're usually worked out, but if those differences arise time after time with the same person, it becomes a bit pointless, constantly arguing. I mean, I spend most of my time then either, you know, backing down or like trying to coerce someone to do what I want. And the whole thing's supposed to be fun. I've always thought that. I've never liked the idea of the group existing with a fixed lineup, because that's how other people see the group. You know, they see the group as X, Y, Z and A. I always like to sort of change it around. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'd play in a group with anyone that I got on with, whether they could play music or not. It's far more to do with that, to do with the personalities involved, really. And I don't know, in the past there've been a few people who've just really not liked what I want to do, and they've left. I think it achieved exactly what we wanted to achieve, which was to make me and Lowell look completely stupid. Surrogate Tears for Fears videos. We were just trying to sort of shatter all the illusions that people had built up about us of being very remote, very sullen, moody, you know, constantly living in darkness, hanging upside down. We just wanted to do something which was so stupid that people wouldn't actually be able to accept that it was me and Lowell. And it worked. I couldn't accept it as me and Lowell for years. Used to deny that it was us at all. I think Lowell's like a blanket, really. It's like an old blanket. It gets very threadbare and sort of dirty, and you don't really think about why you're carrying it about until someone says, "Why are you carrying that dirty old threadbare blanket?" And then you suddenly realise that you couldn't throw it away and get a new one because you've become sort of emotionally attached through mutual experience. I think Lowell is that blanket. Who loved that? At that time, everything had just got too much. Really, the whole thing had become too intense and very depressing, and just everything seemed to be wrong, and we didn't seem to really be achieving what I wanted us to achieve. It just, I don't know, we seemed to be sort of stagnating, and me and Simon were just fighting all the time, and eventually it just got to the point where Simon left, and there's just me and Lowell left, and I just couldn't face, after how close I'd been to Simon and how good I thought the group had been for about 2 years as a three-piece, I thought, you know, and we didn't seem to have got anywhere, really. I mean, we'd made Pornography, which I was really pleased, you know, really proud of, and no one else liked it, and it just, everything sort of seemed to be going wrong, so I decided just to go off for a few months. So I just sort of disappeared. I took a tent and went camping around, dossing around England, and I just found that I was writing songs again, and remember the Oxford Road show. I phoned the office like once a week just to see, you know, how everyone was and what was going on, and they'd asked us to play, so I thought it'd be good just to say yes, even though we didn't have a group, and that would force me to do something because I was getting even worse, I was getting more depressed. So we just sort of, we threw together, I don't know, a group from nowhere and just went and did it. And it was really, I suppose, part of it was I was sort of trying to prove to Simon, looking back, that the group could carry on without him. It was sort of, there was a kind of pride involved, and that the sort of the songs and the idea of the group was more important than any of the individual members. It was that sort of idea. So I thought, I just need to get anyone with me on stage and just play songs from Pornography. It was actually set up as a promotional exercise for Let's Go to Bed. And we were supposed to do Let's Go to Bed on it, but at the last minute we changed it and did songs from Pornography. Much to everyone's horror.
Something small falls out of your mouth and laugh. Pray for something better. Pray for something better. Please love me with my mother. The fear takes hold. Creeping up the stairs in the dark. Waiting for the 10th floor. Waiting for the 10th floor. Waiting for the 10th floor.
We had like 2 weeks from being told to actually performing, and it was all just thrown together, and it was really good fun, and I actually enjoyed myself like I hadn't for about 2 years, and I felt really like I was singing.
Pressing an old man and painting a lifeless face. Just a piece of new meat in a clean room. Soldiers crawling in a yellow moon. Seem to say it's to run away. Seem to silent waiting falling. Too sad to take the death of a father, pushing her Pushing a white face into the mirror, aching inside me, turn me around, just like the old days. Just like the old days. Just like the old days. Just like the old days.
Playing concerts is just, it was one of the motivations also for being in a group, just wanting to perform in front of people. You can sort of have, it's just like experience, I suppose. It's just, if you start to question it, you start to question doing anything, really. It's all it is just experience. I'd enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, the group wouldn't play live. I don't really think that you have to. I think it adds a dimension to a group. Like, you can interpret songs. If you play together for long enough, you actually establish a communication within a group, and it actually enhances what you play when you go into the studio. I mean, the last record we played, I think, is the best one we've ever done, because we went into the studio and we played live. We played as a group, and it shows. I mean, you know, the groups that don't play live and that go in and build records rather than play them, you can tell. I mean, there's room for that as well. I mean, people like it, and it's very popular, very successful. But again, it's just something that I don't really like.
You make up in new blood, you follow me to where the real fun is. Ha ha ha. So fish as a sit down, smelling sex like the land on the ground. So you read by the bruise and hold you blazing, hold you cherish till the dead electric line. Your face, I'll never see you this way again. I captured it so perfectly, as if I knew you'd disappear away. Ha ha. Shake, 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 dog, shake. Shake, 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 dog, shake.
There's like a sense of communion as well when you play live. When you play a good concert, it transcends the idea of a group playing live, because I'm sure that for most people going to a concert, if it's a good night, it has not that much to do with the group. It's like you meet other people that like what you like, and it's just a whole event, and that's what I like. Is the atmosphere of that, being part of that. It's something that, making all the records in the world, you just can't get that. You can't actually get that kind of physicality.
Shake, shake. Wake it's all like a chance fell into the death into the sick dark.
As we were just about to go into the studio and record the Kiss Me album, I wanted to set up some concerts for the group, so that we'd, the idea of us being able to play together, like, in front of an audience, it would actually make us feel like a group. So when we went into the studio, we'd play like a group. And I thought, when we come out of the studio, we're going to have a lot of new songs. So therefore, when we go out and play live again, we're going to be playing a lot of new songs. So we're going to have to discard a lot of the old songs. And I just wanted to capture us at that point, playing everything that that we'd recorded up till that point, because I thought we were playing really well. I thought the group sort of looked good and it sounded good. And I just wanted to have it, because no one ever films us, so I just wanted it done on video just for our sake.
Seems stranger than I thought. 6 different ways inside my heart. And everyone I'll keep tonight. 6 different ways so deep inside. Tell them anything at all. You know I'll give the world and more.
It was the first bit. It was the first one that we saw when the film was being done. It was the first one that was put together, and we asked to see some of it to see what it looked like. And we were still recording down in Miraval in France, and it just sort of reminds me, it's just a selfish reason, it just reminds me of that whole time. And also, as soon as I saw it, it made me feel exactly like I feel on stage. It's just got that sort of feeling about it that it makes me squirm almost.
Sides to every lie I say, sad American voice again. It was never quite like this before. Not one of you to say, do 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 do. This is stranger than I ever thought. 6 different ways inside my heart. Everyone I'll keep tonight. 6 different ways go deep inside. I tell them anything at all. Look at the world and more. They think I'm on my hands and head. It's time that much to slow. Side to every lie I say. Sad American voice again. It was never quite like this before. What are you saying?
It's happened so slowly, and I suppose I've grown used to people from time to time coming up to me and saying, "I really like your last record." That it seems natural. It's not the kind of, I mean, we don't have a kind of an adulation. I suppose we do in certain countries, but it's only there because it's manufactured. I always think there's this kind of manufactured hysteria which surrounds any group once you attain a certain level of success. But for me personally, what I do, and it hasn't changed over the years, where I go, who I see. In some types of fame, are secondary to what you do. I mean, you don't become the president of America because you want to be famous, you know, but it goes hand in hand with the job. And it's how I think of what we do. It's regrettable in some ways. In that, I don't really think I could recognise Ennio Morricone in an Italian restaurant, but he is more famous than I am. And yet in the same Italian restaurant, I can't say, "Oh, you're that bloke out the queue, I don't like you." So, you know, it differs all the time. There's different degrees of it, and it's just something I think if it happens slowly enough and you understand why it's happening and you don't go seeking it, I think it's controllable.